I think there's a good comment going back to our earlier discussion that we were having about works and obedience and all that discussion. I had to jump right over to Alan Drury, a good friend of ours, and I think through the program you've got to build a friendship with him.
Yeah.
Mine goes back to the days of preaching in Ackerman. I've actually been to, and correct me if I'm wrong, Alan, but I think it's Pine Bluff is where he's the preacher.
That sounds right.
But been up there, visited him during gospel meeting. Ed Castile was preaching. But anyway, he on his watch party commented this. He says, God saved Noah by grace, Genesis 6, verse 8. And by Noah, faith, according to Hebrews chapter 11, verse 7. But did Noah earn or work his salvation by building the ark? No. He just followed the instructions of God by obedient faith, Hebrews 11:7, Romans 10:17. And so, the idea of obedience and the acts of obedience that we take on our side, nullifying the grace of God, that's absurd. That's just not what scriptures teach. I think that goes back to vain attempts, and you can go back and read debates that have been written where people are so desperate to try and show baptism not being essential for salvation, trying to justify Calvinistic teachings, that they grasp at straws. And I'm not saying there's a lot of people being misled about this, but I don't know anybody in the church teaching the truth that's trying to say we somehow work or earn our salvation.
That's another thing. A lot of times you mentioned this earlier, that things are ascribed to us that are not actually true. Like, for example, a lot of people like to say that the Church of Christ thinks they're the only ones going to heaven, or we think we're working our way into heaven through works and stuff like that. That's just not true. We don't teach that. It's a misunderstanding a lot of times of terms. People, you need to define your terms. And I'll tell you right now, salvation, just that term alone, does not mean the same thing to everybody.
Oh, you're exactly right.
It depends on who you're talking to.
Yep. That's one of the reasons when we were talking about what is premillennialism, I get frustrated with that. And the reason being is I can't go and point to a Bible answer because it's not right there.
Yeah.
I can't define my terms. When I deal with the Bible, I have an absolute truth that I can go to and define my terms.